Hey, Ayşenur abla. Um, I heard about, the death of um Mustafa today, and I'm speechless. I can't even imagine what you are going through. And at one time, when we were all at the Turkish Community Center together, it was like a family. And I don't know what type of family you have there in North Carolina, but the way you and Mustafa were, it's like I'm sure that you have family everywhere. Um, so since we're a family of very diasporic people, I guess to say, we move around, and I'm sure that reading is not so easy these days. I can understand. It's easy to get lost, like when you're grieving, you feel like spacey in the head. So I wanted to read something to you that I think is very important for everyone that's going through a loss. It's called The Mourner's Bill of Rights. Though you should reach out to others as you do the work of mourning, you should not feel obligated to accept the unhelpful responses you may receive from some people. You are the one who is grieving, and as such, you have certain rights no one should try to take away from you. The following list is intended both to empower you to heal and to decide how others can and cannot help. This is not to discourage you from reaching out to others for help, but rather to assist you in distinguishing useful responses from hurtful ones. Number 1, you have the right to experience your own unique grief. No one else will grieve in the same exact way you do. So when you turn to others for help, don't allow them to tell you what you should or should not be feeling. This is true. Number 2, you have the right to talk about your grief. Talking about your grief will help you heal. Seek out others who will allow you to talk as much as you want about your grief. If at times you do not feel like talking, you also have the right to be silent. You have the right to feel a multitude of emotions. Confusion, disorientation, fear, guilt, and relief are just a few of the emotions you might feel as part of your grief journey. Others may try to tell you that feeling angry, for example, is wrong. Don't take these judgmental responses to heart. Instead, find listeners who will accept your feelings without conditions. You have the right to be tolerant of your physical and emotional limits. Your feelings of loss and sadness will probably leave you feeling fatigued. Respect what your body and mind are telling you. Get daily rest, eat balanced meals, and don't allow others to push you into doing things you don't feel ready to do. You have the right to experience grief bursts. I still do. Sometimes out of nowhere, a powerful surge of grief may overcome you. This can be frightening, but it is normal and natural. Find someone who understands and will let you talk it out. I'm going to stop there for a second. As time goes on, it's the grief never really goes away. It becomes just a little bit easier to talk about. But like things will come up like holidays, which are a specifically difficult time for me. And I start grieving the loss of my grandma, my aunt, and my uncle, who were like probably the only 3 people that I had that ever made me feel safe in my family growing up. And loved and everything else. And so I think that's why I'm still grieving pretty hard from that. Sorry. The other one I wanted to just go forward about is when they say you have the right to experience your own grief, and no one should tell you how to feel about that. In American or in English, so many people, when they see you crying, they say, "Oh, don't cry, don't cry." Don't tell me not to cry. That's my husband. My husband just died. You get what I'm saying? Like in English, for some reason, they're always saying, don't cry, don't cry. And I think it's just something people say. They don't really think what they're saying. Um, it's very complicated. You know, let me carry on, okay? Number 6. You have the right to make use of ritual. The funeral ritual does more than acknowledge the death of someone you loved. It helps provide you with the support of caring people. More importantly, the funeral is a way for you to mourn. If others tell you the funeral or other healing rituals such as these are silly or unnecessary, don't listen. That's right. Do what you have to do. Be unique. Do whatever you have to do. You have the right to embrace your spirituality, which I know you already have. Sometimes you question it, I bet. Especially times like this. You have the right to embrace your spirituality. If faith is part of your life, express it in ways that seem appropriate to you. Allow yourself to be around people who also understand and support your religious beliefs. If you feel angry at God, find someone to talk with who won't be critical of your feelings of hurt and abandonment. You have the right to search for meaning. You may find yourself asking, why did he or she die? Why this way? Why now? Some of your questions may have answers, but some might not. And watch out for the cliched responses some people will give you. Comments like, it was God's will, or think of what you have to be thankful for, are not helpful, and you do not have to accept them. You have the right to treasure your memories. Memories are one of the best legacies that exist after the death of someone loved. You will also remember, instead of ignoring your memories, find others with whom you can share them with. And lastly, number 10, you have the right to move toward your grief and heal. Reconciling your grief will not happen quickly, but remember, grief is a process, not an event. Be patient and tolerant with yourself and avoid people who are impatient and intolerant with you. Neither you nor those around you must forget that the death of someone you loved changes your life forever. And that's true, and I felt like I had to read that to you. I just, you're not alone. And I love you, and I can't imagine what you're going through, and if we were closer, I would definitely, come over and clean your house, because I'm sure you don't feel like cleaning right now. You know what I mean? Like, I totally would. You would just be like, no, like, you want to be left alone? No, I'm there to clean your house. I'm there to do your laundry and everything else, because I'm sure that it's piling up, as it would if I were in your shoes. And that's just what friends do. One last thing I want to read to you is called A Letter from Heaven. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes filled with tears for me. I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you, and each time you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. I know you'll miss me too. When tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart, for every time you think of me, I'm right here in your heart. And I'll leave you with that. And there's nothing to say. I just we're family, and I love you.